The Knicks come up big in Game 5, and I'm here to break it all down. All that and much more on the Knicks Digest. What's up, guys? It's your boy Dariel from Knicks Digest. First and foremost, Alec, Burks, and Deuce McBride, they definitely get the MVP trophy of the game tonight. And also, I gotta mention Donte DiVincenzo. I just have so many thoughts running through my mind right now. But first and foremost, Deuce McBride and Alec Burks coming up big in this game. I've been saying ever since Bogdanovich went out with that ankle surgery that Deuce McBride and OG Anunoby are definitely the two players that are going to have to step up in Bogdanovich's absence. And now since OG is out with that hamstring, in my opinion, there's going to be a little bit more pressure on Deuce, and he did not disappoint. Tonight he came up big with 17 points, 3 of 7 from three-point land, 7 of 15 from the field, grabbing 1 rebound and dishing out 4 assists. I just love it when Deuce is extra aggressive on the offensive end, looking for his shot, looking like he belongs on the court. Alec Burks is just like the Undertaker. He's been out of the rotation for about a month and a half, but then with Bogdanovich being out, OG Anunoby being out, Alec Burks comes to the rescue. Tonight he had 18 points, 6 of 11 from the field, 5 of 8 from three-point land, converting 1 of his 2 free throws. Alec Burks is definitely one of the spark plugs that we needed for a Game 5 win tonight. Before I keep bringing down the numbers for the New York Knicks, on the Indiana Pacers side, I don't understand why Tyrese Halliburton is not as aggressive on the offensive end. Tonight he ended the game with 13 points, 5 of 9 from the field, converting 1 of his 4 three-point attempts, and converting 2 free throws. I don't understand how at home you could be this super aggressive type player, but then when you go on the road, it's just like you're a completely different type player. I never understood that. If that was me in that position, I knew going into Game 5 that I think it's like 80%, 85%, whoever wins Game 5, they go on to win the series. And if I'm the star player of the Indiana Pacers, I know that going into the game, and that's going to make me be ultra aggressive in the game. But Tyrese Halliburton, he actually did the opposite. He wasn't as aggressive. He wasn't looking for his shot. And if anything, he was being a little bit too unselfish, trying to set up plays for his teammates. I will never understand that. And as far as the Indiana Pacers as a whole, I will never understand how they could look amazing in Game 3 and 4 with all the plays being run, everybody in the right positions, the ball movement, the body movement. And then in tonight's game, the game was kind of over by the time halftime came along. I don't understand the team's psyche. I never understood that. Pascal Siakam had a really good game with 22 points, 7 of 15 from the field, 2 of 3 from three-point land, converting 6 of his 7 free throws. This was another Pascal Siakam classic game where he's just trying to get the refs to call the fouls, and he's just flailing his arms. Even though Donte DiVincenzo didn't have a great game, 8 points, 4 of 14 from the field, that's not great. He hit none of his three-point attempts, which was 6. He grabbed 7 rebounds and dished out 4 assists. It wasn't a great Donte DiVincenzo game, but what Donte DiVincenzo was able to give us, where his offensive game lagged, was that toughness. Where you saw Donte DiVincenzo just not take any crap from the Indiana Pacers. And I'm specifically talking about that screen that Miles Turner was setting on Donte DiVincenzo. I believe it was in the first half. Donte, you saw that he was mad, and he went straight to Miles Turner's face, and he didn't care that he was probably like a 1.5 feet smaller than Miles Turner. And that's the type of energy that we need from here on out. Going to Indiana in Game 6, we're going to need the type of energy that we're going to need to conquer the world. It's going to be the 15 players on the Knicks team against the rest of the world, because that place in Indiana on Friday, I believe the game is going to be bonkers. And if the Knicks can go into Indiana and steal Game 6 and win the game in 6 games, that's going to do wonders for the New York Knicks as far as momentum, as far as confidence, as far as mental confidence. Now, going up against Boston, that's a different story. That's going to be a different video. But focusing on the here and now, the MVP trophy goes to Deuce McBride and Alec Burks, providing such a huge spark plug off the bench. Something I should have mentioned way earlier in the video is Coach Tibbs making a really small but a very important adjustment. In the starting 5 for tonight's game, he inserted Deuce and he took out Precious. So Precious was the one coming off the bench. Alec Burks was the one coming off the bench. And what I think that was able to do, that was able to provide just a little bit more energy, a little bit more speed into the starting lineup, because time and time again, when Deuce gets the ball, Deuce has ample opportunities to attack when the defense isn't set, and we all know that Indiana Pacers, they don't like playing defense. When Precious was in the starting lineup, you guys know how I feel about Precious. I'm not a huge fan of Precious, even though tonight he did contribute 4 points, 2 of 6 from the field. He did attempt 1 three-pointer, which he missed. He grabbed 5 rebounds, dished out 2 assists. Precious, Again, there were still moments in tonight's game, just like the entire season, where Precious kind of had some boneheaded plays where he took his eye off the ball and the ball was bouncing off his head, where he just missed defensive rotations, where he committed really, really stupid fouls. But this is a positive video, so not too much on Precious. But I really like that adjustment that Coach Tibbs made, putting Deuce into the starting lineup. Now in Game 6, I don't know if Coach Tibbs is going to do that again, and if he does do it, Rick Carlisle is probably going to be ready for it. He might make an adjustment to counteract Coach Tibbs' adjustment. But Deuce McBride, man, I am so happy that you had a really good game, a really breakout game. Since Bogdanovich went out, I've been saying that your offensive output has to be anywhere between 10 to 18 points, and tonight ended the game with 17 points. Perfect. Chef's kiss. Deuce, we're going to need this type of game from you moving forward, especially into Game 6, where we could end the series in 6 games. I would be remiss without mentioning Isaiah Hartenstein. Isaiah Hartenstein tonight, even though he had 7 points, converting 2 of 3 from the field, 3 of 4 from his free throws, of course, we have to talk about the 17 rebounds that he grabbed. He was looking like Josh Hart out there. I think Josh Hart's rebounding energy, he passed it along to Isaiah Hartenstein for this game. 17 rebounds. Isaiah Hartenstein with the rebounds is another reason why we were able to walk away with a win. Just the type of energy that the Garden is able to exude whenever the players are playing at MSG, it does wonders for us. And I said it after Game 4 reaction with Chris and I said that Game 5 is going to be big and that the Garden crowd is going to have a huge impact on the game, because in Game 4, because we saw that the players on our team were tired, we saw that they were gassed, and they just absolutely had nothing in the tank on Sunday. And I said, going into Game 5, coming back home into the Garden, we're going to need the Garden crowd to go crazy, because they're going to need a little bit of an energy boost to put them over the edge. And you felt it right from tip-off. Right from tip-off, the crowd was into it, chanting MVP, chanting let's go Knicks, chanting whatever you can think of, and I think the crowd really did its things. So if you're watching this video and you were actually at MSG, I salute you and thank you for giving our players an energy boost. And of course, I gotta close out the video talking about Superman. Jalen Brunson, 44 points. Jalen Brunson is just putting together a playoff historic run. By the time this playoff run ends, hopefully we get to go into the next round in the Eastern Conference Finals, which more than likely will be Boston, and maybe Jalen Brunson is going to put up a few more 40 burger balls. But Jalen Brunson is having a historic playoff run that we haven't seen since Bernard King. I believe that I think one of the graphics that TNT put up tonight is that Jalen Brunson has 4, or he's tied with Bernard King for 5 40-point games in a postseason. It's one of those two. I can't remember exactly, but whenever you're tied or you're like 1 game behind Bernard King was one of, if not the best offensive player that the Knicks have ever had. And if Jalen Brunson is on a list with Bernard King, which we have very few Knick greats, it's pretty much Bernard King, Walt Clyde Frazier, Patrick Ewing, Willis Reed, Earl of Pearl Monroe you might want to throw in there. But like other than that, like I keep saying, the history from the New York Knicks is not a great one. But Jalen Brunson, 44 points, 18 of 35 from the field, 2 of 6 from three-point land, 6 of 7 from the free throw, grabbing 4 rebounds, dishing out 7 assists. Man, Jalen Brunson, time and time again, just comes up big, and he's ready to perform when the lights are on. This just goes to show you that Jalen Brunson is the type of player that you can build around. And going into Game 6, if Jalen Brunson can go into Indiana and steal Game 6, and we win the series in 6, I think the conversation around Jalen Brunson will really, really start changing. Deuce McBride and Alec Burks, I commend you guys for coming up big and providing an energy boost for the rest of the team that we desperately needed. And now Game 6 on Friday. If we can go into Indiana and steal Game 6, I'd rather win in 6 than in 7. 7 games, the minutes are going to be piling up. You might be able to see it on the players. And on top of that, in Game 7, anything can happen. An injury, somebody might not be feeling well that morning. Anything can happen. So if we could go into Indiana on Friday and steal Game 6, that'll do wonders for our players, for the organization, and that'll do wonders for all the injuries that we're dealing with. Brunson, Hartenstein, Josh Hart. I'm sure at this point everybody's dealing with some sort of nagging injury. But today was a great win. Kudos to the whole Knicks team for coming up big. If you were on the bench or if you were on the floor, wherever you guys were able to provide, you have one huge happy Knicks fan over here. But until next time, guys, you know the drill, you know the vibes. Taj Gibson for president wherever you are. Jalen Brunson for all the MVPs. The Deuce. is loose. Deuce McBride for co-MVP. He deserves the MVP trophy alongside Alec Burks tonight. And Jalen Brunson deserve the MVP trophy for tonight. But until next time, guys, thanks for checking out this video. Peace.